Hey, there is a number of gotchas that I'd like to help you try and avoid when trying to size an FS230. And the first one is the pipe material. Unless you're doing a transmitter only configuration, you're going to have to determine what the pipe material is and what the temperature range is and what it's going to be used for. Selections 1 and 2 are for your steel selections for both liquid and gas. Selection 1 are for temperatures below 176 degrees F, and selection number 2 is for above 176 degrees F. But both 1 and 2 are for temperatures which do not exceed 250 F. So selections 1 and 2 are for steel. They're for two different temperature ranges as long as they don't exceed 250 degrees F. And these are the high precision sensors selection. You'll notice that the selections skip number 3, it doesn't exist. And the next one is 4. 4 is for gas on plastic pipes, which does incidentally also use high precision sensors. That is the only selection using high precision sensors which is not on steel pipes, and that's for gas, and that's for selection 4. Liquid on plastic pipes, option number 6, is always going to be universal sensors. Selection 7 is for liquid on any type of non-steel pipe or non-plastic pipe. Typically, if we have ductile iron or cast iron, we're using selection number 7. Anything which is above 250 degrees F, you're going to use selection number 8. And this selection will make use of our legacy 991 or 991 sensors, which are steel body sensors. After you've selected the pipe material, you're going to be selecting the outside diameter range, but beyond that, you will select the pipe wall thickness. The pipe wall thickness is especially important. Here's a common mistake that I see with application data sheets. The customer will say that his pipe material is ductile iron and the thickness is based off of Schedule 40. There is no such thing as pipe schedules for ductile iron or cast iron. This is reserved only for steel and PVC pipes. Ductile iron, as you can see, instead of using schedules, uses classes, class 50 through class 56. So if it's ductile iron, you have to specify what class of ductile iron in addition to the pipe diameter. Same thing is true for cast iron. It goes by classes, not by schedule. Another common mistake is that I'll see an ADS come in with an outside diameter, a wall thickness, and a liner thickness. And someone has spec'd out a part number for the wall thickness of the in PIA, which is a combination of the pipe thickness plus the liner thickness. So if you're trying to determine what to add in to PIA for your pipe wall thickness, it's not going to be the wall thickness of the pipe plus the liner. So in this example, it will not be 413. This would be the wrong choice for a pipe wall. The pipe wall thickness is the material for the pipe skin only, not the liner. Another common mistake is I'll see the ADS come in with a larger pipe diameter, like 20 inches, and it says Schedule 40. Anything above a 10-inch pipe, Schedule 40 is not the standard. And a 20-inch Schedule 40 pipe is going to be relatively thick wall pipe, pretty expensive piece of pipe, and in most cases is not going to be used by the customer. So I'll always have to get a clarification. Is this correct or is this not correct? So this is another common gotcha for for the ADS. Now, as far as the output configuration, if you see that we have suggested an FS230 instead of an FS230, chances are the reason we're doing this is because somewhere on the ADS, the customer has indicated that he wants to use heart. The FS230 does not come equipped with heart. So in that case, we have to spec out the FST or the FS230 rather than the FS230. And that was for the E option codes. For the F option codes, you have to be careful. If there is no EX approval, whatever you select for the F option code can be changed in the field. However, I still strongly recommend never using F00. That only gives the customer at most a 4 to 20 output, a heart, or a Modbus. Most cases, they're going to want something like a frequency or a pulse, or maybe even a relay. Having mentioned relays, unlike the 1010, the relays on the 230 or the 020 for that matter cannot be used for totalizer or batch counts. They're only for limits and alarms. Now, if you have an EX approval like FM and you make your selection, you're stuck with that selection in the field. You cannot change the selections in the field on an FM meter. The meter will have to come back to the factory to change from one configuration to a different configuration. And here again, I strongly suggest never using F00. The customer may say all he needs is one 4 to 20, and then when he gets it out into the field, he just expects that he will have a pulse output. Try to steer away from F00. As far as the E codes are concerned for an FM meter, you will have to decide whether it's active or passive for heart. Because when you select FM, it is not field selectable. The non-EX approval variants of our meter, you will be able to select between active or passive on the fly in the field. So this is also an important point. Make sure you know whether or not they want an active output or a passive output. Same thing is true for the F codes. If it's an FM meter, these are your options. You have to decide whether or not it's passive or active, and here are your selections. Another point of confusion is the cable lengths. We have two different transmitter variants now. We have a U, where the DSL is built into the transmitter itself, or we have a V or a W, which is the external DSL variants. The U selection is stuck at 65-foot length maximum. You cannot select something longer than 65 foot. If you need something longer than 65 feet, then you need to go with either a V or a W. A V has an M12 socket cable, and that type of termination requires no field termination. It just plugs on to the transmitter and the DSL for your cable length. The W, it's essentially the same thing, but you have to field terminate each wire for the SSL. SSL stands for sensor link. I don't know, I can't remember what the other S is for at the moment. But if you go with the SSL variant, it'll have to be field terminated to a terminal strip. Here's the M12 variant, and you can see the plug comes in at the bottom of the transmitter or to the side of the DSL. If this was the SSL variant, then instead of the plug on the outside of the enclosures, the wire would feed through, and you would have to wire the cables individually as shown on the inside of the box. And that's it. That's the most common gotchas that we have when provisioning an FS230.